welcome back again. We're down in London for our second visit, looking at yet more jobs that we've done as part of Mark's Demolition Diaries. And I'm really pleased to say that we're here today with almost a lifelong colleague now, it feels like.
Hi, I'm Dave Rogers from Galliard's Development Director. Was involved many years ago now in this demolition project at Westminster Bridge. So this is where we first met with Mark and Coleman, and as Mark said, we've been friends ever since and done a number of projects with them ever since.
And it was a really challenging job, wasn't it? Because one of the ways that we got in here in terms of carrying out the demolition work was to think about it differently, not to scaffold and encapsulate it. And at a time that we were going with high reach, going higher and higher, we used that same technology but bigger machinery to have a stronger arm and a bigger cracker, and then we were able to demolishing it using high reach.
We'd owned the site for a long time. It was the old GLA building. It had been an eyesore on the landscape of London for a long time, so there was a lot of interest in demolishing it. But its challenge was the fact that it was basically a roundabout in London, so it was surrounded on all the sides by the roads. So we had a number of challenges to get that sorted out, first of all. Just over from the Houses of Parliament, we got the hospital next door to it. I mean, we couldn't really have more issues to contend with than we had. And as you say, I think it was sort of, to be fair, it was sort of new to all of us in terms of how we were going to do this, and so it was a big adventure for us all to go on. I can remember the day the kit turned up.
This is back in 2006,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I mean, massive machine. Everyone was in awe of the machine, and I think you went off and you actually had the arms specially built and the jaws.
Specially made for the job.
There's the quite famous photograph now of the jaws open, looking through to the Houses of Parliament. And I think the one thing that sort of we sort of remembered was actually how few people were actually involved in the job itself, because of the fact that it was machine orientated, high reach orientated. And you'd obviously looked at the structure of the original building, and you'd been able to work out that, you know, the high reach approach was going to be the way to do it. So generally, you know,
because it was heavily constructed,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Very, very big beams
and
heavily reinforced cast concrete.
That's right. So it was, once you were up and running, it was actually quite a joy to watch, because it was every day you could just see a little bit more being nibbled away and you know, it coming down.
And there were huge hordes of people. You know, I'd come down and literally all day you'd have people just standing around here watching it. We had got onboard dust suppression on the machinery, but of course you can feel it. It's a bit of a wind vortex here, so dust was a bit of an issue.
And you said about the dust, and as I say, the hospital over here, very strict. St Thomas's Hospital, there was very strict issues on the dust going into the hospital for their wards, and also vibration. We had vibration issues monitoring as well across the road. So, you know, very constrained, and
Waterloo Station
just massively in the public eye as well, because it's such a busy roundabout and the amount of traffic that's coming round. We like to work with people who are like-minded and, you know, looking forward all the time and wanting to move forward.
Yeah, well, that's certainly what we're about. You know, progressive thinking. Always innovating. We spoke about it on this job, and of course others that we worked on in terms of remediation. So yeah, long may it continue. Thank you very much, Dave. No, really enjoyed seeing you again.
No, that's good.
All right, cheers. So we're here at the site that we refer to as the Minories, which is down at Aldgate in central London, with Tom Bishop.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, good to see you back here again after all these years. My name is Tom Bishop. I'm Head of Project Management and the Director at Concert, and we provide project management, development management, cost management and CDM services to the built environment.
So this was 2018. It was interesting for us because this was built after some of the bombing that had gone on in London. And it was sort of 8 or 9 stories, and we had to divorce the one side of the building, and as we come down, put the weather protection on. But I also remember extensive amount of work in the ground.
Mm-hmm. Why I think sometimes demolition is, people think it's just an easy part of a project, but it's not, because in terms of how you had to demolish the building here, there was no historical records really.
Yeah.
So you sort of have to sort of, you know, when you're probably tendering, you're not guessing at all, but you're making some assumptions that can quite hard to then verify. And we found some unknowns. Some of the structure was in terms of how it was constructed wasn't as probably as per some of the assumptions. Again, going back to the noise, you were very much 2 hours on, 2 hours off, which elongated the program. But that's just city centre.
That's how you have to work around here, isn't it?
That's how you have to work. And then once you had got down to ground floor level, there was all the foundations that needs to be grubbed out, which again, not an easy job ever.
No.
And then I remember you finding, it used to be an old railway yard back in the day, and you found these, they look like something out of Doctor Who, like these huge Dalek style.
This is the lumps of metal.
The lumps of metal. And again, they were part of I imagine, the old railway yards. Fair play to your team for coming down here and seeing it out, and they did a great job.
We've certainly found that working with you, Tom, and the people that you work with, it's a collaborative approach, and I think that's absolutely crucial because we're a family business, so by nature we're a team and we're working together, and sometimes if that team approach isn't the right sort of click and fit with people, you may not get the best out of us and vice versa.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the key challenges in the construction industry is communication, governance, and I think if you don't have communication, good relationships, demolition, there are a lot of unknowns. Whether you're demolishing a building or you're doing some enabling works, you don't know historical records are really poor from buildings that were built pre the 90s, and you never understand the full picture of them until you do start taking them down or you start putting that first bucket in the ground. And there has to be a collaborative approach, and sometimes you've got to make a phone call. I've always been able to pick up the phone to Coleman's when we're in contract and say, can you sort this out? We can sort out the paperwork after, but we need to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because there's people, in a funny way, I like to get you off site as quickly as possible and see the back of you, so I can get the next person in. So it's it's all that.
And the last time that we met you, we were on a job and we were just finishing it off, and I said, "How's it gone?" And you said, "Mark, it's gone really well, but I just need you gone now. Can you make sure you finish it?" So yeah, we all had words and we were focused. But no, I think that the guys down there, the last job, they finished well, and I'm pleased to hear that the follow-on contractor hasn't found too many problems.
Too many problems yet.
Yeah, which is great.
All cleared. So thank you. Yes, and which we always found Coleman, to be really good at in terms of understanding the site, understanding the constraints, understanding the risks involved, and having the right personnel managing those risks on that.
That's really good to hear.
So
no, it's fantastic, and we like working with you as well, Tom, and the rest of your team, and we look forward to the next job.
Absolutely, which hopefully won't be too far away.
No, I'm sure it won't.
Very good. No worries. Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
We're at St Mary's Axe in the City of London, and I'm with Simon Casey from Frogmore's.
Morning.
Just like to talk about your role, Simon, and Frogmore's for a start.
I've been at Frogmore now for close to 28 years. Frogmore's development manager, so I deal with all the construction, post-planning, construction delivery side of
all the headache stuff.
All the headache stuff, yes.
So this was 2006, 2007?
We acquired it 2006. It was the former Bank of Greece headquarters, obviously on St Mary Axe, right next to the Baltic Exchange, which is further up St Mary Axe, which is the one that was destroyed by the bomb in '92.
Yeah.
It was always earmarked, as far as we were concerned, as a new build office. Obviously, as you're very aware, we had some challenges. Being a bank, there was some quite heavy structure in there.
The problems with taking out back bolts and spiral wire, and obviously it's not intended to be easy to get into them. And the Bank of Greece was no different. Logistically, it was a real tough one. So I remember we formed an entrance into the building, and we had to eat into the centre of the building, and then form drops down through it, and of course scaffold encapsulation, lighting, hoardings, and take it down floor by floor. We found some other challenges along the way, didn't we? We did. With huge concrete beams of that height that were just looked like it had been plasterboarded in and wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah, the original structural engineer obviously had a bit of a field day when he
Maybe
designed
a bit
that
of
in.
excess concrete left over
Who
on
knows?
another
Bit
job.
of reinforcement on another job. So I got somewhere I can put that. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. It was a challenging site, but in terms of demolition, it's one of those jobs. I just remember a really good collaborative team spirit. Everyone seemed to get on well. Great guys from start to end.
Yeah.
The guys on site, as we were talking about earlier. It was always one of those sites that you always look forward to visiting.
We're a family business and we pride ourselves in what we do. And of course this was one of our first jobs in London, and to us it was very important, so I was down here a lot.
Yeah.
And like you say, the key thing is about the collaboration,
Yeah.
the working together,
Yeah.
being open and honest. Like any job, nothing
No.
went entirely
No,
perfectly
it didn't.
all of the time.
It
or,
didn't.
you know.
It didn't, and it never does with construction, and perhaps more so with demolition as well. There's always
That unknown.
the unknown, the risk that you guys take, which you obviously look to mitigate as much as you can. But as always, problems are all about solutions, and I seem to remember on this job there was nothing pushed our way in terms of a problem without, well, we could do it this way or we could do it this
Yeah,
way.
we like to come
A couple
with
of
a solution.
solutions, yeah, and in some cases a couple of solutions, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's yeah, it was a nice collaborative job. The building is now 15 years old,
Yeah.
and it yeah, it doesn't look out of place.
Simon, thank you very much
No.
for coming down and spending the time.
No, it was a pleasure to see you
really,
again.
Yeah, really good to see you.
Yeah,
and
likewise.
I look forward to talking to you more.
Lovely. Cheers,
All
Mark.
right,
Thanks.
cheers.